Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 374 and you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. The entrepreneurs that join me each week reveal steps they took on their journey to success, and these steps reveal a path you can take as well. Joining us today is Sophie Howard. Has started, scaled, and sold 6 to 7 figure online businesses. She knows what works when it comes to growing an online business. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, Patience. Thank you so much for having me on your wonderful podcast.
Thank you for coming. My audience are excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Well, it's a bit of an unconventional approach. It's a strategy of buying an online business rather than building one. So it's a very quick and easy way to have that lifestyle and income stream that a lot of entrepreneurs work towards for years that may or may not happen. Certainly according to the first plan and the first attempt, often there's a lot of trial and error. But what I'm going to talk about today is a much more certain and quicker way to get to where you want to be.
Can't wait to hear more about that. Let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your own business?
Sure. So my background, I did a science degree. So I've always been sort of fairly, not mathematical, but fairly scientific in my approach towards business. So I've got that background. I live in New Zealand and I've got 2 young children. And I'm originally English, but the thing I like to do is play around with new ideas. And so I'm always reading books or doing courses or working with coaches to try and look into ideas that aren't so obvious. And if everyone else is doing it, you won't find me there. I try and stay off the beaten track and find new ideas that people haven't really done too much with so far. So I think this strategy of buying online businesses is a real winner.
But why do you do what you do?
So what I do now is I do a couple of things. So I teach people how to publish books on the Kindle platform on Amazon. So that's going really well. I've got dozens of books up and selling, and I help my students figure out what book topics to publish on and help them get started. But since maybe 2 to 3 years ago now, what I thought I would do is find out what it takes to buy an online business. And I used the first one I bought as a way to quickly learn about a new business model that I hadn't had any experience in. And through buying a business, I instantly got a team. I instantly had income. I instantly had all the processes, systems, everything set up to run that type of online business. And it went really well, and it's still going really well. And then I think back to all the businesses I've built, and I've built some successful businesses and I've sold some businesses. This was so much easier. And I didn't have to go through all that trial and error of testing out products, figuring out what platforms, what price, finding a team, training them. You know, there's so much work that you never really get paid for as you create a business. But once it's up and running, then, you know, that's fantastic. That's where you get to enjoy all the good bits. So I just fast forwarded straight to all the good bits. And, you know, the first business I bought was through a broker. It was actually through Empire Flippers, and they were really good because they actually vet all the businesses that they list. So somebody else had been through all the Google Analytics and the contracts and checked they own the domain and all those things that are really important, but you need to check out. And so I still did all my own detailed research, but buying it through a platform made it really easy because the broker understood the business, had a good relationship with the vendor. I had funds, and my only real focus was checking I was going to buy a good business. I didn't want to buy something that had issues or problems with the migration or seemed too good to be true. So working with the broker and doing my own research, I kind of got together a really good checklist and really structured way to assess a business I was about to buy. And that first one's going really, really well. So I just thought this is maybe something I should do more of. And so the cash flow I'm collecting from the businesses I own, Some of that I'm now funneling into buying new businesses and teaching other people who want to do the same thing how they can go out, set their criteria of what kind of business they might like to buy, and help them go out, shortlist, assess, and go ahead and buy some online businesses. And before you know it, you can have a little portfolio of a handful of these small online businesses generating profit every month. And the nice thing is you can pay them off really quickly. So depending on how you finance the purchase of them, there's lots of different ways to do that. But typically an online business sells for a multiple of the profit of, say, 3 times the last year's profit would be pretty typical. But if you compare that to, say, buying real estate, you've got 20 to 30 years of paying off that thing you've just bought, and the profitability of the online businesses is so much higher. It can be 30-40% profit margin, and something you can buy and even maybe grow. So the payback period's really short, and the amount of total funds you need tied up in these businesses you buy is way less than a property portfolio. So if you, say, had 3 small businesses producing 30k a year profit, say you get 100k profit a year, you might have paid $300,000 to buy those. But to have $100,000 profit from a real estate portfolio would be millions and millions and millions. So it's a much more affordable way to generate that quick income stream. And there's potential to grow it faster. You're not at the mercy of, say, the market rent for that city for a 3-bedroom house or a condo on that beach in that area. It's what you make of each business you buy. You can definitely grow them quite quickly once you buy them as well. So I've been trying to pay all mine off through their own profits within 12 months of buying them, just by growing them, cutting a few expenses from where they were the day I bought them, and just getting the profitability up really quickly. So it's a very fun new game to be playing. And it's obviously not for somebody's first thing they ever do in business. It's not something, if you haven't ever had some good work experience, or maybe you've done a bit of your own entrepreneurial stuff but just want to go faster or go bigger. So it wouldn't be for somebody who's never done any business or never had any sort of seniority in your career. But for some people who want to get ahead, they're well-resourced, they're ambitious, they want to learn, they want to implement and get that result in lifestyle really quickly, I think there's no other strategy that would get you there faster and still keep it really interesting. It's still a really entrepreneurial approach, even though you're shortcutting some of the trial and error stages, which is what the entrepreneurs spend lots of their time doing.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
Well, there's a few things. One is just how I wake up and feel every morning about the businesses I own, which isn't a very mathematical answer. But, I feel really proud of the brands and the products that they sell. So I've got a whole bunch of things. I've got things like a newsletter that goes out to fiction readers where we give them a really good deal from authors on new releases. So that makes me feel really good. The person who's just written the book, who wants to boost their sales, gets a bunch of sales and good reviews coming in on their books. So they're really happy. The people who subscribe to the newsletter are really happy because they're getting free books to read, basically, or really big discounts on books on this daily deal site. And I'm really happy because every single one of those authors who places one of their new books in our newsletter, a link to it, they pay about $160 to me, each author, each day, 7 days a week, and they book it in themselves on a WordPress link. They pay straight to my PayPal account. And so every single day, that business generates a few $100 of profit. There's no expenses, or virtually none, just a bit of hosting and somebody checking over the newsletters that the quality of the books is good. But that's such a neat business model. I didn't know anything about that industry when I bought it. And it's just one of many businesses, and most of my businesses are unrelated. But that's such a cool business. So buying that was a really smart move. It makes profit. The customers are happy. The clients are happy. The business model's low maintenance. It's low stress. There's no compliance. There's no products being shipped around the world. I used to sell Amazon FBA products. And so it's really low stress, really good lifestyle business. I could be anywhere in the world running that business. That business actually generates $90,000 profit a year with me doing absolutely nothing. The only thing I do each week for that business is the lady who keeps an eye on the newsletter sends me a Skype message once a week. How many new subscribers? What was the net profit for that week's sales? So she just does a quick report out of PayPal. How many bookings did we get in the newsletter? And that's it. Nobody has to write anything for the newsletter. The thing that goes out each day is just 5 or 6 listings of new books from those authors. So that was a great buy. And I count that as a real success. So I keep looking for businesses like that to go out and buy.
Tell my audience the best online business models they can use.
Oh, well, this is a fun topic because not everybody's best business model would be the same for everyone. So if you're very creative or very analytical, you would head in slightly different directions. And some people are a bit more tech savvy, and some people like me are not so tech savvy. So the different business models, there's only really a handful of them. There's basically the WordPress type content sites, maybe a blog or a review site, and they're quite simple from a tech point of view. There's lots of low cost and very easy to work with quality developers and designers out there who can pretty much do anything you need on WordPress. And so that game there is really about good content, some SEO, and just being consistent with quality stuff for the readers to read, and for the advertisers to pay advertising on, and affiliate links to products or services. So the content sites are a really great model that are very accessible, low cost, low stress, and can really grow over time if you put the work in. And you can definitely outsource everything that needs to be done on those without being a specialist in anything. You need an agency to do some writing of content and SEO. So that's a good one for most people, I'd say. If you're more techie, something like software as a service, a good SaaS business model is pretty hard to beat for ability to scale and huge profit margins. There's no cost of goods once that code's written and that service is out there. Then it's basically a license to print money if you're a smart marketer and can get it into the hands of customers. So I really love a good SaaS model, and especially business to business. That would be my personal favorite, because I can often see a way to scale those quite quickly. Often there's a really techie person who's built the business, but they need someone who can take it to market. So I quite like those. Personal favorite. Then there's things like an e-commerce store. So maybe a brand that sits on a Shopify type site. Maybe it's drop shipped, or maybe there's some inventory sitting in a warehouse somewhere. But e-commerce is nice because you can get a really good margin on those products. But that's not for everybody, because generally for an e-commerce site, whether it's direct sales of your own brand or drop shipping, you generally have to run paid traffic to let customers know about those sites. And so if you're really good at the creative side and can come up with, say, social media content or pay for that, paid traffic, so paid Google ads or Facebook/Instagram ads, then you can really blow up a brand very quickly and get a lot of sales. And I look at a lot of those businesses for sale. They've grown really quickly. The founder's done something clever with the product. There's something unique, or they've really struck gold with their marketing on social media. So if you've got a background in that, or if you like social media, or you've got the time to put in just doing the social media, then those brands can be good. But you really do need to be braced for rising costs of Facebook ads or Google ads, things like that. You've always got to stay pretty current with what's working with Facebook and Google. So you've got to both be a bit creative for the ads and the content, plus quite analytical to crunch the numbers on which ad campaigns are working, or outsource it. And then you've got to really work well with your supply chain of the product. So those can be really good, especially if you like a good tangible physical product in a brand that you own, and it's a bit of an expression of your creativity. So a lot of people really like those, and there's definitely a lot of those for sale. And then there's things like apps. There's a whole bunch of businesses that are specific to a one platform, say Amazon FBA businesses or Kindle businesses for sale. I tend to keep clear of those, mainly because I've built my own and I know how to create one from scratch, and can help people do that if they're interested in that particular platform. But I think my favorite would be software as a service, or just straight content sites on a platform like WordPress. And then they're very low tech to run, very easy to get started. You can have 10 small sites or 3 huge ones, or 1 small one till you're really confident with your team and the processes, and scale it from there. My best business is probably a subscription business where every month hundreds and hundreds of people pay me quite a small amount of money, but there's just so many of them, it all adds up. It's only a $10 subscription, and it's a design bundle that they get each month for a particular type of business model. So I've got a masterclass that goes through in more detail which businesses I've bought or built and how they work and what I do with them to grow them and monetize them. A subscription business is really nice. The certainty of future income coming in every single month, month after month, is really nice because you just have to deliver one thing a month to those customers. Lots of them pay you for the same thing, and very, very low overheads, very high margins and profits, and nice, simple business. There's nobody stressed, or there's no huge complicated deliverables. There's no high demand, sort of high maintenance clients. Everything's online. So I guess the whole other strategy would be to buy physical businesses, sort of not online, but real world businesses, shops and retail, or something that you do as a service. And some of those could be quite interesting too, but I really just love the freedom of the online world, and the margins are always so much better. So that's what I've been doing for the last few years. I think I've bought 20 something, maybe 28 sites now. Some were very small. The first few I bought were tiny, and some of them are up in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. What I don't do is go too big. So I do my due diligence, and the bigger the deal, the more research I put in at that due diligence stage. I've got more advisors picking over the tech or the accounts or the legal side. And I don't want to have to spend lots of money assessing a deal if it might not happen. I don't want to be really stressed or stretched financially to buy it. I don't really want to be borrowing against a business that I don't know really well myself. So some people are really happy to go out and stack up loans against their house, or personal guarantees, or remortgage things to buy these businesses. I like to keep mine small and neat and profitable, nice juicy little businesses that pay for themselves really quickly, and I sleep well at night. So there's all sorts of complicated ways to finance these businesses if you don't have the cash to pay up front. And I guess lots of people listening to this will be like, well, I like the idea, but I couldn't buy a business up front with cash. So I think the best model there is definitely vendor finance. So most people selling a business are pretty motivated, and they want to hand over the reins of the business they've bought. Maybe they're going back to start another new business, or they want to retire, or whatever their situation is. If they've put the work in to get that business listed, have it vetted, get it all marketed and tidied up, ready for sale, they really want it gone. And so a lot of those vendors are very keen to just get the deal done. The brokers also want to get the deal done because that's how they get their commission. So rather than haggling and negotiating hard over price, a strategy that's really worked for me is to pay a fair price for a really high quality business, but get the person selling it to let me pay that off over time, which is called vendor finance. So basically the person selling the business is happy to take just a percentage on day one when you settle, maybe another 20% or 25% 6 months or 12 months later, maybe the next year, another 50%. So it doesn't take up all that cash up front. It manages your risk a bit, and there's actually a tax advantage potentially for the vendor to do it that way rather than just get a big lump of cash that they have to pay capital gains tax on. So for various reasons, and I won't go into the tricky tax stuff, and I'm not a tax advisor nor giving tax advice, but sometimes it can be really beneficial for both parties to do what's called vendor finance. So you pay a little bit up front and then installments over a few years, and that takes the pressure off finance, and it means you can actually fund it through the business itself. So that's what I've tried to do on every deal, get vendor finance. If it's $1,000 website, probably not worth all the admin to have a complicated structured agreement on performance and payment. Usually you just pay those ones up front on a credit card or pay cash for those. I usually just pay through an escrow service that protects my funds until all the payment, all the website, everything in it's released to me. Then I say, yep, got it all, it's all working, thank you, press a button, and they receive the funds. So that protects both sides for that transaction, because you don't meet these people in person. It's not like you go and have a look around their shop and go, yes, I'll buy it. It's all online assessments. So you need to be careful on that transaction. And so I like to use escrow to protect the funds in transfer, and I like to use vendor finance to break up the payments. And then if the business isn't performing and your payments are tagged to that business performing, then you don't keep paying. So I did buy a business late last year that was maybe 200K asking price, and I ended up only paying 135K for it. through a combination of negotiations and vendor finance. So they really wanted it sold. I've got a great cash flow off that business. I paid $135,000, or I will in total over payments, and it generates around $80,000 profit a year, US. So that's pretty healthy. So if I had 2 or 3 businesses like that, say that one, my newsletter business, and a couple of others, I live very, very comfortably on that income stream with very, very part-time hours managing those portfolio of businesses. So what I generally do is assume I will not be an owner-operator. I don't want to buy a job. Often the person selling has been the owner and the operator and the founder. So when I look at the numbers, I need to check that if I'm paying someone to look after it day to day, it's still profitable to me. And that's actually one of my negotiation strategies is the fact that they haven't been paying themselves a salary, but I will have to pay a salary. The numbers don't work until we can get the price down or the terms better. So the vendor finance has been a winning strategy, and most of that's actually just negotiation skills. So you can be not very techie at all to do this kind of business, but the negotiations, that building a relationship with the vendor, finding terms that work for both of you, that's where the gold is, I reckon. So that's what I've been really focused on, a process that's repeatable to find the right kind of businesses that are smart business models that scale and are low maintenance and low stress and easy to get good help with, and then financing them through help from the vendor, then adding them into the portfolio and managing them from a owner, not an operator stance. So I don't want to be doing the daily newsletter send. I want to own the business where someone else hits send on the newsletter each day and I collect the profits, and they get a 5-hour-a-week job running it for me, $20 an hour or $10 an hour. So simple, low stress staff who aren't indispensable, and smart business models where all the money's made through automation and quality product or service. So I've really, really enjoyed doing it, and I've really enjoyed getting those results and learning a lot about the processes and the different types of business models. There's some really good marketplaces to buy these businesses on that have vetted all their listings. So that saves a lot of hassle by just looking at quality. I mean, I don't want to buy a real mess and a bunch of problems to fix and hope that I make money if I fix them all. I want something that's already working smoothly, that doesn't take lots of time or battles and problem solving to make profitable. Just want a good business on day one, and then outsource the delivery, the week to week, day to day operations and deliverables.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
Oh, the magic day. I think it was the first time I closed a deal with vendor finance on a 6-figure business where I realized where I didn't need to do anything else. That was it. All I needed to do was just keep owning this business, don't break it. But I could live off that one. I just realized I don't need to do anything else. I currently do lots of coaching with people learning about Kindle publishing, which I really enjoy. And I'm busy publishing books myself. So I've actually written a book on how to buy online businesses, amongst other books. But I teach people how to publish on Kindle. So that's really fun. And, it takes a few hours a week. I've got my own publishing business. I've got a few businesses that I've bought now. But even just one of these businesses I've bought, I could live off pretty much any single one of them and not need to do anything else. There's no stress, there's no overheads. So realizing that I could actually just run a business like that I've bought, not built, that was a real change of perspective, because I'm naturally pretty entrepreneurial. I've really enjoyed building businesses and I enjoy the process. But there's a lot of wasted dollars. You do an ad campaign that didn't work, or you try a platform where the profit's not there, or you test a product or a service and the market doesn't like it as much as you hoped, or over time the costs go up and something that was profitable isn't anymore, or there's tech challenges, or there's so much trial and error, and it's so tiring being an entrepreneur. When I had my first Amazon business, I think I got some beginner's luck because my first product was amazing, and I did $1.6 million in the first year on Amazon, and then sold that business for 7 figures when it was about 18 months into trading. But then I've tried literally hundreds of other products, and some went brilliantly, some didn't. But there was the same amount of work on the ones that didn't work that did. In fact, actually probably more work on the ones that didn't work, because I'd redo the packaging or try a different brand name or muck around with the pricing or try a different supplier or buy bigger orders to get the cost down. All these things that you have to keep working hard on to make it work. With a business you buy, it's all that's done, and all that work's not really priced into the price you pay for it. You just pay for how it's working today, and all that blood, sweat and tears of the founder is just a sunk cost. It's gone. So that's a real change in perspective for me, because I was like, well, to be a true entrepreneur, you've got to have done the work and built it all yourself. But actually, I much prefer owning businesses that someone else has built, and I can use any entrepreneurial, background I've got or interests to try and grow it, or get something that's automated done, something done manually done automated. I can play around with the business model and have lots of fun, trying to improve these things. But I don't need to work for years on something that isn't making any profit yet. Everything I own now is profitable, and that's a really nice feeling.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
Oh, that it's definitely the only path to living really, really well, I believe. So if you work in a day job, you're an employee, you can have a huge salary if you're really good at your job, but your time is owned, your spirit, your energy, your free time, your 3:00 in the morning thoughts, all those that demand on you, all the best of you, all your best ideas, they all just go to someone else. And so you've got some years where you might earn a lot of income, and the banks love it because you're owned and low flight risk, and so they'll happily lend to you to build a mansion or buy an island or whatever. Maybe not that much for an employee, but you can borrow against a salary really easily, and it looks like you're living a comfortable life, but you really have no freedom. And so the only way to have true freedom is to have your own business. And the only way to have freedom with your own business is for it to be a smart business model and well operated day to day by someone else. And so I think anything that's a physical business, the margins are much tighter. And so you need a much bigger business, which comes with having to then hire an empire of staff and having thousands of clients to make the numbers work. Or you've got a huge rent for a huge premises to turn over the stock, say, or store the products or whatever you need to do. But I think to get a good lifestyle business that's still massively, endlessly scalable, it needs to be online. It needs to be 100% owned by you. I don't like having too many business partners or a private equity firm breathing down my neck, doing multi-million-dollar business deals. I think just small, a few six-figure businesses gives you a wonderful freedom and lifestyle. You can buy a house for cash. You can, travel the world. You can live on a yacht. You can spend time with your family. I've got young children, so I spend lots and lots of time with them. I go traveling, live in New Zealand, so I ski in the winter, swim in the lake in the summer, go to Europe in the autumn when it's a bit cold, and it's their summer. And then, I just live really, really well. And I see people with much bigger businesses who don't live as well. I see entrepreneurs working so hard. I see really wealthy people spending all their money on private jets and Lamborghinis, and I don't want that for me. I mean, great for them. Everybody's got their own motivators and things that make them happy. But I think a portfolio of online businesses, I can't think of a better model to have wealth, freedom, satisfaction, pride in what you're doing, keeps things interesting, lots of learning and networking. I mean, you need to do something. And so it puts you in contact with really interesting, successful people. So I think that's what I've learned about business, is that there's a sweet spot for size of business, a sweet spot for good business models, which are all online as far as I can tell. Can't see anything that you don't do online that scales like that. And that basically code is the ultimate leverage. I mean, there's working for an hourly rate, pretty hard to scale, can't get more hours in a week. And you've only got so many years of your life where you can earn at that level. Starting your own business, so you work for yourself, a bit better because, at least it's your own product in your own time, paying you. Then the next tier up would be starting a small business with maybe 1 or 2 employees or contractors under you, so you get a bit of leverage. And then a bigger business, you maybe own a consulting firm or you're a partner of a law firm with all those employees under you, that can make you wealthy, but you don't have much time and you've got a lot of stress and a lot of deliverables and you've got to keep selling and you've got to keep billing. So that's hard. But then switch to the online model. You can do like a micro thing, write your own blogs, do your own social media, get some income that way. Fine, but hard to scale. And still you're tied to that business day to day. And then the sweet spot's the next one up, slightly bigger business, buy it so you get the income straight away. And then bigger than that, it gets harder again because you're suddenly in the big league where you've got, $2 million a month going out on Facebook ads. If that account gets closed, that's a bad day at work. I don't have those sorts of days. Or you've got so many staff, your job is actually just managing managers. And I don't really like that. I like to keep it pretty tight and neat, small teams. And I don't think you need to keep up with the Joneses. There's no need to have lots of bling. Nobody knows what I do, really. I keep very low profile locally. I do the school run. None of the other mums picking up their kids have a clue what my businesses are all about. If I've just been out walking the dog or swimming in the lake or skiing or running or whatever. So I have a really healthy lifestyle thanks to my business. And
I thought you are supposed to be spreading the good word so that the other moms also can learn from you, but you are keeping it yourself.
Well, if they ask, I'll tell them. But I don't like to sort of flash money around. I don't drive sports cars or drip in designer jewelry all day. I just kind of live a pretty straightforward, simple life. I came home, I just bought a business the other day and I did this huge deal. And I was really excited and I was going to tell the children about it when they came in from school, but I was actually cleaning the bins. So, it was bin day and I brought the rubbish bins back in and I was hosing the bins down because they needed a bit of a clean. And I was like, this is rather unglamorous. But anyways, then I sort of skipped modes and told the children about a business I just bought. And, I have a few luxuries. I've got a cleaner and somebody comes and mows the lawn, but I don't want people in my space. I want privacy and, I want to have my own space and enjoy my own environment. And I like to travel. I spend my money on travel and children's education and things like that. And I spend my money buying other businesses or buying properties. So, yeah, I just quite like keeping life simple and low stress.
Wow. Wow, thank you. Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and how can we join you?
Okay, so since I've been buying these businesses and getting good results with them, I feel confident now to show other people my processes. So I put together a short program that introduces this as a topic. So there's a free training if you're interested in learning exactly how I do it. And I've got lots of case studies. I show you the names and numbers of the businesses I actually bought, so you can see exactly what sort of thing I have been buying and how it runs today. So I can take anyone interested in learning about this through, firstly, a free training, and I've written a book on it too. And then I've got a course where I teach you all the steps in detail right through from that first stage of the flight path, why buy a business, what kind of online business would suit you, a profiling thing to work through that, where to go to find these deals, how to assess them and get some help assessing them so I can help you assess your deal, right through that due diligence, how to negotiate with the vendor and close the deal, and then all the handover, the first 100 days, the team that you need, the operations, daily, weekly, monthly, and then even how to scale and perhaps sell the businesses you buy. So I've got a program called Freedom Navigator that teaches all of that. So there's modules, there's live weekly calls, there's one-on-one deal reviews, there's a whole bundle of help there if you think this is a strategy that might suit you. So it suits people who are ambitious and want to actually build a portfolio of online businesses or even just buy one good one. And you don't need to have any background buying businesses. You don't need millions of dollars, but you would need to have a bit of confidence in your management skills of a team because you're going to outsource stuff to operate it day to day. And you'll need some contribution to buy the business, not full cash all up front, all on day one in cold hard dollars, but you'll need to be reasonably well resourced if you want to build a big portfolio quickly. But you can also do this by starting really small as well and doing some of the work yourself. So I can basically take you through the strategies for sort of a small, medium and bigger game and building your own online portfolio.
And how can we connect with you?
My website's called aspiringentrepreneurs.com, and on there you'll see a course called Freedom Navigator. And you can watch the free training and get started there. And then from the free training, it'll show you where to go next to join the program and get started. So we keep the course quite tight. We have small group training sessions and then some one-on-one time. So we do limit the numbers and check it's the right fit, because, you know, I'm sharing a lot right inside all the deals I'm doing, and you'll see the businesses I've bought. And, you know, I want to share that with people who are motivated and want to do the work and do the same sort of strategy themselves. So the course is everything I've learned, you know, warts and all the silly mistakes I made when I just didn't know better. I've learned a lot over the last few years doing this. And, you know, there's some shortcuts and easy hacks for success, you know, not really hacks, but, you know, sites where I've always found really quality deals where not many other people are looking, or a few business models that, you know, really particular types of business that I think are just fantastic. And every time I see one of those, I usually buy them. But I can share all that sort of stuff that I really like and what I don't like, things that have caught me out, you know, just the stuff you can only learn from experience doing it. So that's all in the Freedom Navigator program. And I think some of the people listening might find that the best way to learn this strategy, if it's something that appeals, just, you know, getting those income streams up as quickly as possible without having to fully finance it yourself up front. Obviously, you need to put in something. The more time you've got, the less you might need to put in. You might be able to do almost like a management buyout of the business. If you didn't have much in the way of funding, but you've got more time, you can do some kind of consulting or working in the business to grow it or part own it, and over time buy out the vendor. So there's lots of really flexible ways to make the finance work. But what I'm not a fan of is, you know, borrowing every dollar to go and buy one. I think that's a bit risky. It's not like it's a loan secured against a physical family home or something. It's against an online business. So the lenders on those online businesses have pretty nasty terms and interest rates, and it just puts too much pressure on. So start small if your resources are tighter, and I can show you a strategy to build up the portfolio over time, whatever your situation. So look forward to seeing any of your listeners in your audience come over and have a look at the training and the free sessions. And there's a book which we can share as well. And then if it sounds like the right sort of thing that's appealing, then they can hop on into the main training with me.
Thank you. There will be more from Sophie in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you are encouraged by Sophie's journey,
please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com.
Now, Sophie, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you are up for it.
Sure, let's do it.
Thank you. If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
Oh, I would spend some money on some YouTube ads and create something that is very quickly going to cash flow using my time and the best effective hourly rate I can get for using my time for something I can promote on some YouTube video ads. I think that's the quickest and fastest way to get income. Some form of coaching using my business knowledge.
What is the best business book you have ever read?
The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. So good, still a classic. The messages in that are just perfect and absolutely timeless, because all you've got is your own time. There's always ways to make money. There's always more money, but you've only got your own time. So you should enjoy your life.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your handbag every day, what would be written on it?
Go fast. I just think money likes speed, and the faster you can go, the better the results usually. There's a little bit of error with that speed, but all the errors somehow point you back in the right direction quicker, and you get to the end point faster. So I think speed is usually your friend and not sitting around on the sidelines. So go fast rather than wait for things to be perfect and never done.
What is your next chapter?
Next chapter is going to be finding a really good community that want to do this buying business strategy with me. So I've been doing it myself, teaching it myself, really want to just build a community of people where we can all help each other and, share notes on deals, really high quality relationship there to make really good business decisions together.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
Oh, it's a very up and down journey to success, but I think as long as you don't worry too much about anything that's gone a bit wrong, but focus really quickly on what are you going to do next, just keep that momentum and keep moving forward. So, all the basketball players will say it's not about the shots you miss, it's about the next shot. So, I don't mind a few stumbles. It's actually a bit weird if you try stuff and don't go wrong a bit sometimes, you're probably not trying enough stuff. So you just have to get used to that feeling of it not being working and then moving on anyway. Otherwise, you'd never do anything if you had to be perfect.
Will you ever stop?
I don't really stop very much. When I've finished work things, will do some exercise or go traveling, or I like reading. I read a lot of business books and non-fiction books, autobiographies, people who've done interesting things, not necessarily just in business, but like to study successful people. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. So yours is obviously a great podcast, but there's so much content out there that's so easy to consume now. Audible books, when you're on a drive, or there's just so many things you can learn. People with a great YouTube channel or whoever you want to follow. It's never been an easier time to follow interesting and smart people and learn really on the go all day, every day.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the OSJ podcast.
Brilliant.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
The website is Aspiring Entrepreneurs, which is a bit of a mouthful and very long to type. And then on there, you'll see the program called Freedom Navigator, which is the session all about getting started buying your own online businesses. So that's how to get in touch. And Patience will have some notes on her site too. They're on the show notes and on Online Success Journey. But yeah, I love talking to people about buying businesses and getting started with that strategy. So if you're interested, grab the book and the free training, and I'll talk to you further.
Sophie, it's been great to have you to share your online success journey with us.
Thanks, Patience. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I love this podcast. You've had some really great other speakers, so I'm very honoured to be here amongst great company, and thank you for your time.
You are welcome. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Sophie.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest, and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.